one of the biggest secrets to success is this one. Small steps really lead to big outcomes. So here's a mantra I really want you to remember. Imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. I'm going to say that again. Imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. So a lot of you, when I talk to you, tell me that I'm so focused on learning everything there is about bookkeeping, I haven't started marketing my business. The biggest way to learn how to be a great bookkeeper is to have clients that you're doing bookkeeping for. Never forget your why. And that's some of the things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about first, identifying the mental barriers. The first step is understanding it. The mental barriers that often hold us back as entrepreneurs. And these are the most common ones that I see. First, inaction, waiting for the perfect time or feeling overwhelmed by where you're going to start. I'm judging all of my success by getting a client, and I'm so overwhelmed. I've invested so much. I'm doing all this, and so you just that fear of inaction. The next one's imposter syndrome, feeling like you're not good enough or you're not qualified enough. And we're going to break this one down in a little bit because as I do, and I've done mentoring sessions with, let me look at the names here, probably half of you on here. And, one of the most common things that I get is how do I go out there and sound credible to someone when I have no clients? We're going to break that down a bit. Fear of success, worrying about what growth will bring, like losing your freedom or failing your clients or letting your family down. So we're going to break that down. Another big one is introvertedness, feeling that your personality isn't suited for networking or sales. That is the second biggest roadblock. And when we get there, Deanna's going to talk about one of the biggest introverts that we know in our life, and that's her father-in-law, which, by the way, is a Baptist preacher, and I've seen get up in front of an auditorium of 1,000 people and preach to, but he's the most introverted person. So we're going to use that as an example of how you can be successful. And then lastly, self-sabotage, getting in your own way by procrastinating, by doubting your abilities, by putting self-inflicted obstacles in your way. So we're going to talk about that. So let's make this real for you. We're going to take a moment and think. I want you to look at these 5 barriers, and I want you to pick the one barrier that resonates the most with you. One. And I want you to jot it down. If you feel comfortable putting it in the chat, put it in the chat. I mean, we're all part of the bookkeeper family. We're all on this journey together. I tell you what, my biggest one is inaction. And that's my biggest one at time is inaction. We've all got ones, but if you put it in the chat, write it down. But I want you to really focus at what is that one of these 5, because we've all got one that we struggle with at times, and keep that as we're going through. Think about that and put that in your head. Now, what is mental barrier? Why do we face these barriers? The answer really lies in how our brains are wired. When we step into the unknown, our brain is in that, if you've ever heard that fight or flight response, that really kicks in. It's that survival mechanism that's really designed to protect us in danger. But here's the thing. Your brain doesn't know the difference between actual danger and perceived danger, like reaching out to a potential client, things like that, or beliefs. Our beliefs also play a huge role in it. If you've ever told yourself, I'm not confident or I'm bad at sales, those thoughts really create those mental barriers. But here's the good news. Our brains are adaptable. Everything we've done in life, our brain has learned how to do. You weren't born with the knowledge that you have today. You learned everything. Think of your first job. Think of that. We're going to get into really how this works as we move forward. The One of the biggest secrets to success is this one, and it's taking a consistent action. Small steps really lead to big outcomes. So here's a mantra I really want you to remember: imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. I'm going to say that again. Imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. So, a lot of you, when I talk to you, tell me that I'm so focused on learning everything there is about bookkeeping, I haven't started marketing my business. The biggest way to learn how to be a great bookkeeper is to have clients that you're doing bookkeeping for. You've got an academy of 220 other people that are walking this journey. You've got 6 mentors. You've got live coaching calls. You've got support group when it comes to the knowledge part and overcoming the knowledge part. But you've got to start marketing your business. You've got to get out there and start working your business. When you take consistent action, even if it's small, you build momentum. That momentum really builds confidence, and confidence leads to results. Let me share an example. One of our other students, and I'll use the name Jason. Jason committed to posting one LinkedIn article per week. The first few posts didn't get a lot of traction at all, but by week 4 of being consistent with his postings, he got a lead, and I actually got 2 leads, and that lead turned into a client. But had he lost after week 2 or week 3 and says, "This doesn't work. I'm not getting the traction. I'm not going to do it," then he would have lost out on that potential client. So it's really taking consistent action. You know, this is another one. Let's really make this practical. Here's 4 strategies that you can start using today. First, set small, achievable daily goals. For example, reach out to 5 businesses on LinkedIn, attend one networking meeting, send out 400 emails off of D7, find one achievable daily task. Create a simple daily marketing plan. This could be a basic sending one email group, posting one update, something like that. And then use accountability tools or partners. You've all heard me talk about how critical it is to have a mentor, to have an accountability partner, to role play with, to do that. And I encourage you, if you don't have a mentor or an accountability partner, and it doesn't have to be another bookkeeper. My biggest mentor is Deanna, because Deanna can call BS to me. She knows me better than anybody else in this world, and she will say, "Bill, you're full of crap. You can do better." And it's not because she would beat me down, it's because she knows what I'm capable of and wants to see me succeed. So here's the key traits in a mentor or an accountability partner: that they're not just going to be a yes person. They're not going to be saying, "Yes, honey, that was the best presentation you ever did." They're going to be honest with you. The second thing is that they want to see what's best for you. What they're saying is not to break you down and tear you down, but what they're saying is to be honest with you, to build you up. And then also, this is the other in building a business. This is one of the biggest things that I can tell you is that celebrate small wins. So many of you get so trapped up into that the ultimate sign of my success is that I have a client. That's not the case. Building a business is a series of small wins, and you've got to celebrate small wins. And I equate it to climbing a 25-story building. You're going to have flights of stairs. Now, every single time you hit that next flight level, you celebrate that win. So create a plan of action for the week. And if you follow through, don't make it a gimme. You've got to earn it. But if you follow through with that plan of action, reward yourself. Give yourself a reward. We're going to go out to dinner tonight. We're going to go have a picnic. We're going to go do something that is a reward for you. And the reason being is it releases that endorphins of success. And the more you feel it, the more you're going to want it. So, and I wish I could tell you that building a business was like taking an escalator. Even if you trip and you fall, you're going to end up at the top. That's not the case. It's a series of taking 5 steps up, 2 steps back, 6 steps up, 1 step back. So it's critical that you celebrate those wins so that you get that feeling of accomplishment.
I want to add to what Bill's saying too, is that to me, it's like a marathon. You don't just wake up tomorrow and go, okay, I'm going to go do a marathon. All right, there you go, and go run it, or you'll fall over dead, y'all. You're going to have a heart attack. You do it in small increments. You go join the gym. You start walking the first mile. You may do a 5K. You go to the gym and work out more. You don't just all of a sudden have a flourishing business. It takes steps. It takes you hitting those milestones to keep growing and being more successful and more successful. And Bill and I do that too. Like I said, I always, every time I hit a personal goal with one of our businesses, we'll either go out to dinner or we'll find a trip or I'll just go buy myself something. I like to buy myself something, and I'll tell you why. Because it reminds me every time. Like for example, I have a shoe and a purse fetish. I'll go buy myself a new purse only because then as I use that purse, it reminds me of the mark that I hit, right? Like it was something that I did, and it constantly reminds me that I can hit the next mark and I can hit the next mark. So keep making sure you don't just lose weight overnight. You do things to make you lose weight. You don't just do a marathon overnight. You have to hit marks to do it. So to think that you can just instantly do a business and tomorrow it's going to be massive is not the right mindset. You got to realize you got to set those goals and every day take action, like Bill said, towards those goals, and it will be successful, but you got to start taking those steps.